Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Here for the Craic with me, Emma Neill. How are we all? Guys, I'm going to try my hardest for my visual watchers, not my audio listeners. I'm going to try my very hardest sorry, I'm already doing it. I'm already not looking. I'm going to try my hardest to look at the camera today, to look at you guys and act like I'm talking to you. This is really difficult for me. I don't know, it feels weird when I'm podcasting. I'm in my own world. I'm literally chatting to myself. Like, it's like, you know, when you go on a rant when you're on the phone with a friend and you just go off on like a half an hour spiel and you're like doing the hand movements and I'm doing it again. I'm already not looking at the camera. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about when you really are like in the zone and you're telling a story and you're like hands all over the place. Like, it doesn't matter where you're looking in that moment because you're just in the room, like with your friend on speakerphone. That's what I'm like when I'm podcasting. So the thought of like looking in the camera and being aware of myself and like having to direct it at something, I'm not used to it, but I'm going to try it because I want to see what I like better. Because I did have a few people saying it would be better if I looked at the camera. So you know what? We're going to try it out for you guys today. I've also switched up where we are. You know what? I just want to try a few different places. I mean, maybe I'll never settle on one. Maybe I'll just record wherever, depending on the day and the vibe. But today we're in my so-called dressing room. I say so-called dressing room because I do call it my dressing room, but like it's more of a shit show than a dressing room. Like behind me, there is a big clothing rail, which is great. Love that. Loads of shoes underneath. Amazing. But like this side of the room that you guys can't see, what's facing me, there's a lot going on. Piles of things, bags everywhere. It's a bit of a hot mess. I literally say every single week, I'm going to get this room sorted. I'm going to get my wardrobes ordered. And every single week, I don't do it. Something else crops up where I'm like, I'm too busy this week. So this is actually going to be the week I do that. Finally. Although that doesn't mean that it's going to be done this week, obviously, because that's literally just the first step is ordering the wardrobes. By the way, I really, really wanted to support like local tradesmen and businesses and all of that. Like I really tried my hardest to get a quote from every single fucking like wardrobe person under the sun. And ultimately all of them are just completely out of my budget. I knew joinery was expensive, but I don't think I knew quite how expensive it was. Like, it's really quite obscene, to be honest. So I am going to opt for IKEA wardrobes in this room. I want basically the whole of this wall that you can't see. I want that all covered, like, wardrobe, which I thought I wouldn't be able to do with IKEA because there's, like, a chimney breast. You know when the wall is, like, there's a chimney breast bit, so it kind of goes in and then out and then in. Does that make sense? And I thought you had to have just, like, a straight wall to do IKEA wardrobes. Turns out there's actually ways around it. You just need a joiner to put it together that can then like fill in the bits to make it all in line, if that makes sense. Probably not explaining that very well, but it's not doable for every single room, but if your measurements match up to their wardrobe sizes, they can make it work. And I did go into IKEA and check that, so they actually can make it work, which is good. I think it was actually really good because I went in and I kind of like designed it with someone, and then you can do this online, but I think it's really good to get a design done up, then go away and really think about it and like be in the space and like do what you would do in that space and then figure out if there's anything you want to change, because there's so many things now I want to change, having like, you know, spent more time in this room, worked out like what the lighting is like and all that kind of stuff. And just like practically how I want to use the wardrobes. I think it's really good to go away and like sit with that and then come back and think, actually, you know what, I think it would be better if we did this and that. So yeah, even though I could do it online, I feel like I don't trust myself. I'm going to go back to IKEA with all my measurements and all my adjustments that I want made. So yeah, I'm really sorry to the small businesses and the tradesmen of Belfast out there, but like, I don't know how anyone's affording you. I'm sorry. Like, you do you, pop off. I'm so pleased for you that you're able to charge those prices. However, I will not be able to pay them. So that's the road we're going down. I'm really excited though to finally be able to like have this space functional and it not just be a mess everywhere, because It'll be such a dream, and I can't wait to do like a wardrobe tour and like a before and after and all that. Like, that's so exciting. Anyway, what have I been up to this week? I was in London last week. I'm going to London next week. I feel like I spent half my life in London. Last week was for some work, and this week is actually this week is also for, I've got a job that I need to go to London for, but I'm also going to an awards show, an awards night, an awards thing. It's the Be Creator Awards, which I have been nominated for. You can't vote anymore. The voting closed like over a month ago. But yeah, shout out to, well, actually by the time you're watching or listening to this, I'll already know that I didn't win. Sorry, that's not me being, maybe that is me being pessimistic. I'm just up against some like massive creators, like Chloe Burrows, for example, who probably has like 1 million followers or something. So it's an absolute honour. Like, I am so pleased to even be in the nominees for Podcast of the Year. Like, that is fucking insane. And thank you so much to everyone who voted for me. But like, I'm not making a big thing of it, you know? I'm not bringing my whole family. I'm not doing the whole shebang, because let's be real. Like, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just being real. Okay, so but I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to get dressed up. I've got a really nice dress. I'm actually borrowing a dress of my mum's that she got literally like, I want to say 20, 30 years ago. I don't know if she get it after I was born or before I was born. I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember. She did tell me. But see, I borrowed a few of her dresses and they were all really old, and I can't remember which ones were like, you know, even older than me. But anyway, it's a really funky wee dress. It's like very formal, but also a little bit boho. I don't really know how to describe it. So I'm really unsure about what to do on the hair front. And actually, after I record this podcast, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to try and do a few things with my hair. Now, I am the worst person at hair ever. I feel like I'm so blessed on the hair front, having like natural curls, and I really, although my hair routine is so extensive and so long, and like I dread hair wash day every single week, I put it off all the time because I just know how long it's going to take me. So although that part is really long, the outcome is great and means I actually barely have to touch my hair for an entire week. And as a result of that, I never style my hair. I don't think I've ever even blow dried my hair straight. Well, maybe when I was younger I used to try and do it, but it would just end up being like a big puff ball. But I don't style my hair. I style my natural curls and I leave it at that, and that's it. Like, I don't do fancy hairdos, I don't do updos, I don't do half up, half downs. I mean, the odd time I went through a real phase actually in uni of doing a little slick back bun, and then thought, what the fuck are you doing? This does not suit you. So I very quickly stopped that. But yeah, I'll maybe do that like once every other week if my curls look particularly bad, but I don't want to wash them just yet. I'll like scrape it back into a little slick back bun and hope for the best, you know, put a little hair mask in and then wash it the next day. But I really try and not to, like, not that I don't want to be out, like, it's not that I don't want to be seen with my hair slicked back or anything like that, but I'll definitely not be like filming anything. I'll not be doing the podcast on that day or anything because I'm just not a fan of it. But yeah, sorry, as a result of this, I do not know how to do hair. They say you're either good at makeup or you're good at hair, and you know, I'm a makeup artist, so I'm gonna have to be bad on the hair front. And I feel like for formal dresses and like formal events, people do fancy hairstyles to kind of match the dressing up side, you know? It would look weird if you just put on a really, really fancy dress, a really fancy pair of shoes, like fancy little bag, all the like nice jewelry, and then you just had like quite messy casual hair. It would look a bit weird. But at the same time, because it's like, you know, a little bit of a, even though it's fancy, it's got like this kind of bohemian vibe to it, the dress. So what I'm thinking is like something that does incorporate my natural curls but does dress it up a little bit. So, you know, whether that be a half up, half down, but with my natural curls out and maybe some pieces out at the front, whether that be a side part with a little section of it, like, you know, kind of slick down, but like side part. I don't know. I haven't worked it out. I've saved some inspo. I'm going to practice after this and probably have a mental breakdown, but that's okay because that is why we practice these things, so that you don't have a mental breakdown on the day. Okay, let's do pit and peak of this week. My pit of this week. Okay, see when I'm booking flights to and from London, I don't really like flying in the middle of the day because in my head, that then takes up my whole day because realistically, okay, yeah, I might get up and go to a class or go to the gym or something first thing. But apart from that, I'm not going to be able to actually do anything. Like, I'm not going to sit down and get any work done, like, or be able to actually like make plans with friends, or like, do you know what I mean? In my head, that's taking up my entire day if it's in the middle of my day. And also then once you get to the place, you're not able to do anything once you get to the place, because by the time you get back, you drop your bags off, you maybe go and do a bit of a food shop, eat, you're tired, you've flown. Like, I don't know. In my head, flying in the middle of the day is completely pointless. You may as well fly first thing, get in, power through with the rest of your day and actually like have that as a full day, or like come home, have a quick nap, then get on with it. Or you may as well fly very end of the day, like, you know, the last flight kind of thing, and therefore have your whole day to be able to do shit with, and then go to the airport at the end of your day. That's how my brain works, okay, when I'm booking these flights. So what ends up always happening is that I always book a really, really early flight home. And I don't know why, but I forget every time that, okay, yes, a 7:30 flight might sound like a great idea because you'll get in at a time where you've still got your whole day in Belfast. However, the reality of that is actually getting up at 4:30 in the morning so that you can get to the airport in time, and sometimes be late because there might be train delays, as there is quite a lot, train cancellations. Also, just at that time in the morning, the trains aren't as frequent because it's not like peak times, because it's so early. It hasn't hit that, like, you know, 6 a.m. mark where they are more frequent. So yeah, it can cause some issues. And anyway, issues aside with the trains and shit in terms of getting there, it was just a bit of a pit arriving back, and I think I got like 3 hours sleep before that because I was just being an idiot. My sleeping pattern's been all over the place recently, guys. Since I came back from Porto, my sleeping's been completely fucked. I'm really trying to get on top of it, but for some reason I keep falling down holes of, like, I will find something and then I'll just like take a deep dive into it at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I find myself at 3, like, oh my god, I'm actually a fucking idiot. So what have my deep dives been on recently? One night was on heatless curls. Has anyone who's got natural curls done heatless curls? I do know the answer to this question because I took a deep dive into it and found videos of people doing it on naturally curly hair. But anyone who's listening to or watching this, if you have naturally curly hair and it's like quite similar texture to mine and you've done heatless curls, like using the things you see on TikTok, can you let me know how it went for you? Because I have an idea in my head of how I could make that work for myself. Another night, this was a very random one, was researching London gym memberships. And specifically, expensive London gym memberships. Like, I was very intrigued. And you know those real bougie gyms that have everything? Like, you know, they've got the pool, they've got the spa bit with like the sauna and the steam, they've got, you pay for like your expensive membership that includes all of your classes. It's got Reformer. It's got, I don't even know, what else can a gym offer you? It's got everything a gym can offer you, basically. They're usually like between £200 and £300. I was researching all of these different London gyms, learning the prices of them, learning what they offer, looking through pictures of them, looking at all the different locations, whether the membership included all the locations or you had to select one. Like, this is what my brain thinks about at 2 o'clock in the morning. And on one part, I'm like, whoa, I feel so much better off for knowing this knowledge. But on the other hand, I'm like, why would you ever need to know this information? Like, I have no intention of moving to London or becoming a member of one of those gyms. But I was so intrigued in it. And I fall into these little, I don't even know how to describe it. I fall into these little holes and I just find myself hours later being like, okay, it's actually time to go to sleep now. And the thing is I could carry that on for hours longer. I really could. I could keep going with it for a lot longer. But it just gets to a point where I'm like, okay, no, you're taking the piss now. Like, actually go to sleep. I actually have to have words with myself. So the sleeping pattern's been fucked as a result of that. I think it doesn't help when I sleep on my own. I think when my boyfriend's there and like he's going to bed at a normal time and he's like reading his book and then wants to turn the light off. And also, you know, he has a 9 to 5. He gets up at 7, half 7, usually every single morning. And so I think me not wanting to wake him because of his sleep schedule encourages me to just go to sleep at the same time. But there was like quite a few nights there after Porto, like after having fucked my sleeping pattern from being on holiday, then coming home and like sleeping on my own for quite a few nights, and then being in London, sleeping on my own for quite a few nights. And it's just spiraled. So I'm really trying to get that under wraps. Wait, guys, I felt this was another one of the holes I fell into, was like fitness watches and like the rings, you know, like the Aura rings and what's the other one? Ultra Human rings. That was another hole I fell into. And I feel like I know just about everything about all of those tracker kind of things now, which I'm actually going to discuss them in part of this episode. That will be relevant later. So I don't know, maybe I'm kind of glad I researched that. Did I even finish Pit of the Week there? I think I did. Did I? I don't know. Anyway, my Pit of the Week was getting up at 4:30 after having 2 hours sleep to then come home to Belfast and literally feel like a fucking zombie for 2 days straight. My peak of this week was, I went for a sunset sea swim with my friend the other night and it was stunning. It was so gorgeous. And we just got out after, sat on the little bench, watched sunset, had a cup of tea. It was a stunning evening. Also, another peak for me, I did my first bar class. I've always wanted to try bar. It's not something I don't think that you can do in Belfast. I've never seen that in Belfast, but it's become quite popular in London. And basically, it's like a Pilates class, but there are bars along the walls of the room, like in the same way like a ballet studio would have. And it very much feels like a Pilates class in terms of the structure of it and the movements and like the repetition and like the pulsing and stuff. It's very much a Pilates class, but a lot of the movements are like more rooted in like ballet bar kind of exercises, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it, but basically if you used to do ballet, you'll fucking love it. It was amazing. Although, would I be paying loads of money to go to the classes all the time? Probably not. I did get the class pass free trial, which was great to use while I was in London, and I'm going to use it again when I'm back next week. It's really good because you can try out loads of different places for like half the price, and also your free trial is actually completely free, so you can try all these places for free, which is amazing. So if you ever find yourself in London for like an extended period of time, or you live in London, it's definitely worth doing like the month free of class pass. So yeah, doing bar was a peak for sure. Also, I did a One Rebel class, and I love a One Rebel class. I really would love there to be a One Rebel in Belfast. Like their reshape class is so, I don't like their reformer. I don't think their reformer's good in One Rebel. Sorry, One Rebel, but yeah, I love the reshape class. It almost reminds me of like a High Rocks class, but more just you in your zone as opposed to you with a group. Now, I do get the benefit of like being with a group because there's something about the camaraderie of a group and a group workout that is fun. But something nice about going in and just being in your zone and it being dark and like the flashing lights and the blaring music and your woman on the speaker shouting at you. I kind of like it. So yeah, I'm rooting for One Rebel to open up in Belfast. My recommendation of this week? No, I have a life-changing recommendation. Sorry, that's very ironic to say because the whole premise of this podcast is going to be about how we get it into our heads that things are going to be life-changing or all your problems are going to dissipate when you buy something, and here's me literally saying this is life-changing about a product that I've got. But I actually really stand by this, okay? So my recommendation of this week is a water flosser. Now, water flossers, they were one of those things. TikTok Shop does my fucking head in. Actually, TikTok does my head in, and every other video is TikTok Shop or an ad, and it's actually driving me a little bit up the walls at the moment, and I'm really considering going on a detox because I think I'm like heavily addicted to it at the moment in a really, really bad way, and that's why I keep falling down my spirals and stuff as well. But anyway, water flossers were one of those things that were really heavily pushed on TikTok Shop for a while. Do you ever notice that on TikTok Shop? These like, it goes through phases of like these different things being really like thrown at you, and like first it was the hair oil, then it was honestly I can't even remember, like it changes on a weekly basis. Anyway, for a solid it was probably about a month, water flossers were really being like catapulted at us, and I can see the ads so clearly of the plaque in people's mouths and it not washing away until they use the water flosser. And I always thought that like the idea of that is really good, and like I would probably benefit a lot from that, but realistically, would I ever use it? Anyway, one day I see it come up on my thing and it's on sale, and I thought, do you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get it, because I don't know if this is a bad thing to say out loud, but I don't floss. And the reason I don't floss is because I have like permanent retainers in the back of my teeth. Like after I got braces, I got it almost is like braces but on the back of your teeth, and it's amazing because I don't have to wear my plastic retainers that often. I mean, I probably should be wearing them more than I do right now, because I think I take the piss a bit where that's concerned. But yeah, anyway, they allow me to not really have to wear them a huge amount, which is great. And also, my teeth were so fucked to begin with that like they'd probably be very prone to trying to get back to that. Do you know what I mean? If there wasn't a huge amount of movement in your teeth with your braces, you might be okay. But like for me, it was so drastic that it just made a lot of sense to get the permanent retainers. And so I don't floss because they are just like very in the way. Now that's probably me making excuses. I'm sure there's people out there with the permanent retainers that do floss. Have I ever tried it? I don't know. Have I tried it? I couldn't tell you. But it's not something I do, and it's not something we were brought up to do. Like, it's not something we were kind of, you know, when you're being brought up when you're a kid and you're taught to brush your teeth and you're taught how to wash your body in the shower and you're taught all these things, and like flossing wasn't one of those things for us. Flossing was never important. It was never a taught thing. It kind of was one of those things your dentist would just be like, and you need to make sure to floss, and we'd all just be like, okay. So yeah, it wasn't really a thing for us, I guess. And anyway, I'm going on this full spiel just to tell you about this water floss. So anyway, I get this water flosser because it's on sale, and actually they're so cheap. I think they used to be really expensive, and now that they're like mass produced, I guess, they're really cheap. You can get them for like a tenner. They're fucking life-changing. My teeth have never felt so clean. It feels like every time I use that flosser and then brush my teeth, I'm coming out of a dentist appointment. Like, I've never seen my teeth look like this. And it was really quite scary because the first time I used it, my gums did bleed. And I was like, oh no, I'm one of those people that like hasn't flossed to the point that now their gums bleed at like literally just having water pelted at them. Like, that's quite bad, isn't it? Anyway, they're okay now. They don't do that anymore. So fingers crossed we're on the right path with my teeth, but you need a water flosser in your life, especially if you're too lazy to floss, because it's so easy. It's so easy. You don't need to think about it. You fill it up with water. It takes 10 seconds. Well, maybe it takes a wee bit longer than that, but you don't have to like get out the string and be sitting there going for like 5 minutes between each one of your teeth. Like, it is so quick, so fast, makes such a difference to your teeth hygiene, your mouth hygiene routine, and I couldn't recommend it more. Quick little book club update before we get into this week's podcast topic. This month's book is is it Intermezzo or Intermezzo? I don't know. Anyway, it's called Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. It is Sally Rooney's newest release. I have had mixed opinions on her previous books. I was not a big fan of Normal People, but I did enjoy her other two. And I've heard a lot of people saying that this is her best yet, but then I've also heard the other side of that, of people saying that they didn't like this. But to me, it sounds like the people saying that they didn't like it are the people that really like Normal People. And then the people that did like the ones that I liked are the ones really enjoying Intermezzo, which is making me think that I'm going to really enjoy this one. But anyway, I feel like I never read books while they're like relevant and while they're new and like hot off the press, and I can never be a part of that, like, you know, current conversation when everyone's talking about these things, because I don't read things until like 2 years after they've been released. Like, I'm not a very like, oh my god, new release, have to read it right now. But I'm using this book club as an excuse to read something while it is fresh and current and we can be a part of the conversation. So yeah, get on it. We're going to read Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. Okay, right. This week's podcast, we're talking about this idea that all your problems would be solved just if you had this one thing. Or your life would be substantially better if you had this one thing. If you bought this one thing. If you got that item for your wardrobe, you would never have to buy anything ever again for your wardrobe. If you bought this bag, that's you done. Your life is complete. You will never have to worry about a bag ever again. If you bought this really expensive dressing gown, your life will be complete. You will not have any problems ever again, I say, as I sit in my new expensive dressing gown. Guys, I did bite the bullet and buy a white company dressing gown the other day, and I'm very pleased, I will say. Has my life been substantially improved? I don't know. I don't want to say yes because I don't want to make you think that you all have to go out and get a white company dressing gown, because that's not realistic. And this time last year, I was not paying that amount for a dressing gown. However, I will say I'm thoroughly enjoying this dressing gown since I've got it. Anyway, I have a real habit, along with so many other people, of really falling into that mindset of like, you know, I would have next to no problems if I just had this one thing, or if I just looked this certain way, or maybe if you got surgery or like you got filler or something, like all my problems would dissipate. What really sparked this for me was when I was in London last week and I went to that one Rebel class, and I posted a picture on my story. Now, it was a pretty like jokey story. I wasn't being fully serious. It was a picture, it was a little selfie, mirror selfie of me in the One Rebel toilets, which are so cool, by the way. Belfast could never. We need to up our game in the gym toilet front, because all of our gym toilet changing room areas look like leisure centres. Meanwhile, London gyms are doing the absolute most with the Hollywood lights around the mirrors, all the free products that you can use, the cotton pads, the micellar water, the shampoo and conditioner, the body butter, the cotton buds, hairspray, clips, baubles, you name it, the London gym has it. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, I put up a little story, a little mirror selfie of me in the One Rebel gyms, and I think I said something along the lines of, I reckon if Belfast had a One Rebel, most if not all of my problems would be solved. And I have a real habit of thinking that way with a lot of things. And I think, you know, a lot of people can probably relate to that, is thinking, oh, you know, if I just had this gym membership, I wouldn't have any problems. If I just got this coffee machine, what would I have to worry about? Genuinely, what would I have to worry about if I had a coffee machine in my life? And it's really easy to think that way. And, you know, I think the capitalist society that we live in thrives off of us thinking that way. Like, that's how it works, because it wants you to think you're incomplete without this thing. You must buy this thing, feel complete, feel the joy of it for however long you feel it. But then realistically, another marketing message comes along, another thing, you know, whatever it is comes along, the next idea in your head, the next thing you want, and you now have completely forgotten about that last thing, and you're now thinking about how incomplete you feel without having this next thing. And that it's just a continuous cycle. That's how capitalism thrives, is by basically making us all feel lesser than or incomplete without, or like we need to be a certain way or look a certain way, or like capitalism doesn't work when you have lots of people that are just very, very secure in themselves, very secure in who they are, what they look like, and what they have in life. It will always kind of want you to want more in every aspect of your life, whether that be for yourself visually, for yourself practically, also when it comes to like health and fitness, your home, like it's endless. It's in every aspect of your life. One that really rings true for me, I used to have a real habit when I was younger, I would say from the age of maybe like 14 to 18, 19, I used to really think constantly, like every single day I would wake up and think my life would be so much better if I just lived in a sunny climate. I would have no problems if I lived in Australia. If I lived in Australia where all those gorgeous, gorgeous, stunning influencers live, where they're in bikinis every day and they go to the beach every day and they go for a swim every day and then they go to their Pilates class and then they get their acai by the beach and then they go on their little walk after. Like, if I lived that life, zero problems. Absolutely none of them. And look, that's just maybe what I wanted at the time. I think I was so sick of living in Belfast at the time in my life. I don't know, I think I'd always kind of wanted to leave, and I was always very excited about leaving. I never saw myself as living in the UK or Ireland. None of my family did. They all thought I would be the one that would like pack up and leave and be living in I don't know, literally anywhere outside of the UK and Ireland. But the reality is that what you're seeing of someone living in a certain place, obviously it's their highlight reel when it's on social media. And also what you're not taking into account is the fact that just because you're living in a sunny climate and, you know, you're getting all these perks of living in a sunny climate, it doesn't like drastically change everything. Okay, yeah, it might give you a bit more motivation to be doing like more outdoorsy things. You might be living somewhere that has like more to offer in terms of nature, cafes, like it maybe just is a bigger city and therefore it just has more to offer in that sense of things to do. But I suppose your mental health can be linked to those things, but ultimately you still have like, you know, this normal everyday life stressors or mental health issues or anxieties or problems that will happen no matter where you are in the world. And I think I needed to leave to be able to see that. Because the reality, don't get me wrong, I loved living in Australia. I absolutely loved it. I think Australia is an amazing place. And if I could literally like pick up my entire family and all my friend group and plop them all in Australia, I probably would do it in a heartbeat. I'm not gonna lie. Or if we could just like pick up the weather a little bit in Ireland, that'd be great, you know? But I think I needed to go off and do that and live there to actually see that this like longing every day to live somewhere else actually wasn't what I had in my head. And that's not me saying I didn't have a good time in Australia. As I said, I absolutely loved my time in Australia. I always thought I would go back. I always thought I would do a second and even a third year. And for some reason, I just haven't really, I don't know. I guess my perspective has maybe changed a little bit. My life has gone in a different direction and I don't have that pull towards there. I think, you know, if I was to do a year somewhere, it would probably be somewhere different just to try something different out. But regardless, it made me very much realize that, like, you know, this highlight reel that you're seeing of people living in warmer climates, yeah, they get the sun. Yeah, they're able to spend more time outside. They're able to go for more walks, go for more runs, do more like outdoor workout classes, go for more sea swims. Yes, they might be able to do all of that, but like there's still everything else happening in the background and none of that changes. And yeah, okay, those things might help you be in a better space mentally, but they don't magically like fix everything. And if anything, it brings in like other things because, you know, you're now away from home. You don't have your normal support system. The living situation might be a little bit more difficult because it's more expensive. So you're maybe not able to afford somewhere that you're very comfortable in. Like there's all these different like factors that can play into it and can then, you know, cause other problems that you weren't dealing with, even though it's like taking away some problems. Say you absolutely hated the weather in Ireland, like you actually despised it and you couldn't spend another day with the grey skies and the rain, completely understandable. You want to take yourself out of that. Okay, yes, you're taking that problem away, but there's also going to be other things that then are going to be added to the list of you being in another place. And like one thing that I've learned is that I actually don't enjoy being in a bikini every day. Like that is just not a bit of me. I don't want to have to be in swimwear every day. That is not fun. But when you're living somewhere like that, you actually don't have to be because that's more on holiday. And that's what traveling taught me really, was that I actually being on a beach for an entire month, it's not a bit of me. Like I had the best time in the Philippines, don't get me wrong, but like I won't be doing another month-long trip where you're in a bikini the entire time. It's not fun. But yeah, I think living in a different place has made me stop thinking that way so much. Like when I say literally every single day from the age of 14 to 19, I probably thought, oh my god, my life would be so much better if I lived here or probably anywhere but where I was at the time. I think I needed to move away to not only realize that like it's on you to put in the effort and like build the life and the community and the space that you want where you are. If you're going to do that, if you're going to make the effort to do that because you lived in Australia, why would you also not do that at home, you know? And I think living away really taught me that, and it taught me that I could, I guess, water the grass wherever you are. And I have a friend who's really bad for this, and sorry, I don't want to give anything away of who this person is. They're really quite bad for just anytime they're in Belfast, all they want to do is get out of Belfast, and all they do is talk about how much they hate it here. But then when they go somewhere else, they put in so much effort to have the best time there. They will scope out all the new places they want to go to. They'll scope out the gym they want to go to, and they'll be in such a good routine with like their health and fitness and their eating, and they'll be making an effort socially to make new friends, and they'll be like making weeknight plans as well as weekend plans, and they'll be doing wholesome activities as well as drinking. But then they come home and they fall into their old ways, their old patterns, and all they do is complain and moan and fall out of love with life basically at home, and like don't make an effort with friends, don't make an effort with just like all they live off is like microwave ready meals. And they kind of just like let everything go. And you're like, yeah, but if you put in that effort that you do when you go literally to any other country, but at home, you'd probably have a good time. And that's not me saying that no one should leave where they're from. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm trying to say is that it's so easy to look at people living in other places or anyone anywhere in the world and think, oh my God, my life would be so much better if I lived there or if I had their life. And the reality of that just isn't true. Like, the grass is actually greener where you water it, and that will always stand true. And that's not to say you shouldn't go away and like test out these different places and have these different experiences and, you know, live for a year in Europe or live for a year in America or Australia. Like, I am so for that, and I'm the biggest advocate for traveling and for trying out different places and different things and different experiences and having a million different lives. Like, I'm so for that. But I think it's so like toxic to get into that like negative mindset of thinking that your life would be so much better if, because all you're doing is taking away from your experience now, and you're not thinking about the reality of that actually in those places you're still going to have problems, you're still going to encounter different issues, and whether that be like mental health issues, problems with making friends, with your job, whatever it is, like there's always going to be other sides to that. It's not going to be the highlight reel that you see on someone's social media. And so anytime you find yourself thinking that way of like, oh my God, my life would be so much better if I just lived here, really have words with yourself, because I have learned that that is not true. Another way that it's really easy to do this is with the way people look. You might look at someone like, I don't know, let's take Madison Beer as the example, okay? Stunning, stunning woman. It's very easy to be scrolling past her on social media and think, whoa, my life would be I would have no problems if I looked like Madison Beer. Like, does she have any problems? I can't imagine her having any problems, because who looks like that? Like, that is crazy. She must literally just float through life. Not a care in the world. And again, the reality of that is just like, okay, yes, she might have pretty privilege to a extreme degree. She might be able to get literally whatever man she wants on this planet, probably. And she might look amazing in everything she puts on. Taking away those issues doesn't mean that then there's no room for any other worries or problems or normal kind of like, you know, everyday issues that we encounter. They don't just cease to exist because you look a certain way. Oh my God, another example. I caught myself the other night thinking this. I was scrolling on TikTok, surprise, surprise. And this girl was doing a video of her bathroom, her gorgeous pink tiled bathroom. And I just remember thinking to myself, whoa, I would have no problems in life if I just had a pink bathroom. If I had a gorgeous pink tiled bathroom with a stunning sink and her shower, like what would I have to worry about in life if I had her bathroom? Because that would just take all of my worries away. And I started thinking about how much it would maybe cost to try and get said bathroom. Extortionate, by the way. Have you ever looked into the price of tiles? Yeah, it's not happening. But like, what would that achieve? You know, I have a functioning bathroom. I have hot water. I have a toilet. I have a shower. I have a sink. I have a mirror. Like, what more do you need? These are all just like things that dress it up. Like, okay, let's be so real with ourselves for a second. There's very few things that actually substantially, okay, wait, actually, no, that's the wrong term. I was going to say that substantially improve your life. There's probably quite a lot of things that substantially improve your life. But let's just say there are actually very few things that really do like properly take away worries in life. And like, for example, one of those things would be having hot water, you know? So having hot water, yes, that genuinely does take away a lot of problems in your life if you weren't to have hot water before, or heating, right? Or let's say you were homeless and then you had a roof over your head and running water and hot water. Yes, obviously that takes away a lot of worries in your life. That gives you so much. You can now clean yourself, you can now cook for yourself, you can now sleep at night, you can now, you know, turn up to a job having been like well fed and washed and in a clean outfit because you have a roof over your head and the ability to do so. So like, there are things in life that do substantially take away, like, you know, a good chunk of worries, and I'm not denying that. But like, let's be real with ourselves, there's so few things that actually do that, like, and it's like the basics, and it's crazy how expensive the basics are. Let's just say that, like, I think all humans should be entitled to that. But anyway, that aside, everything else on top of that, any additional things, is usually just, it's just dressing things up. It's just capitalism at play. It's just you thinking that you need something because a marketing message and ad told you so, and so you got it. And I don't know, is your life any better as a result of it? I would argue no. Do you feel happy with the purchase? Yeah, you might. Do you feel better about yourself or about where you're at in life or who you are as a person? Probably not. And it's like, you know, take the I've been really obsessed with the Sol de Janeiro products recently, okay? I love Sol de Janeiro. I think it's a fabulous brand. I love their body butters. I love their body sprays. I've recently picked up a few more bits in the Space NK haul of theirs. It's very expensive, okay? It's like, you know, we're talking the guts of 35 quid for a thing of body moisturizer. And if I'm going to be so real with myself, is there a huge difference between me buying that or me going to Tesco and getting, I don't know, like the nice Vaseline cocoa butter one, which by the way has gone up so much in price. Like, while we're here, why has that gone up from like £2 to £8? Don't know. Anyway, is there a huge difference in me getting out of the shower and putting on my Sol de Janeiro compared to a Vaseline body butter? No, there really isn't. And again, that's just like completely down to capitalism and marketing, and you feeling more luxurious by putting that on just because it's being marketed as a more luxurious product and at a higher price point. And that's why you really, like, when you find yourself slipping into these thoughts of, oh my God, wouldn't life just be so much better if I just had this one thing? No, it wouldn't. Like, take a step back and think, actually, would it? Probably not. It might solve one problem. Let's say you're having an issue with your foundation. Your foundation keeps getting really cakey on your face. By the end of the day, it's completely gone as well, and it just doesn't look good on your skin. Okay, yes, getting a new foundation is going to solve that problem. Finding a foundation that works with your skin type, yeah, that's going to solve your problem. Is having 10 different foundations, just because they all do something slightly different, going to greatly improve your life? No. I can tell you it's not. As a over consumer of makeup products, as a makeup artist that has behind you right now an entire chest of drawers of makeup, I can tell you it's not going to improve your life. But I have an excuse because I kind of do need them for my makeup kit. So, but yeah, that kind of, that post purchase high, shall we call it, that feeling after you've bought something where you're like, oh my God, you're so excited, you're so happy, you're so pleased with yourself, you made the purchase. It doesn't last long. In some cases, it literally lasts less than a day. And maybe it lasts 2 days, maybe it lasts 2 weeks, maybe it's like a bigger purchase, like a bag or something, and you're really obsessed with it for 2 months and you're wearing it with every single outfit and you think, oh my God, this was the best purchase ever, I'm obsessed with this. And then 2 months later, you're already thinking about the next bag and you've actually, or maybe you've like started to hyperfixate on a different bag and someone comes and goes, oh, what about that other bag that you had? And you go, oh, I forgot about that one. Oh yeah. Like, that's how our brain works. We forget about things so quickly. We dispose of things in our minds so quickly. And yet we were so attached to them before and thought they were like the be all and end all. No, I do think there's a difference in like things that feel like you're investing in yourself. And when I say that, I mean things like, okay, let's say, for example, like when I started this podcast and I wanted to invest in myself. I wanted to get a good mic, or like for YouTube when I wanted to get a good camera. Yeah, I could have done it on my phone. And yeah, that's fine. It probably, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that vlog on their phones and that's fine. But I wanted to invest in myself and that paid off. Like, that was a great decision. And like in the same way that maybe doing like courses or even things like if you're a runner, like investing in the right shoe so that you're less prone to injuries, you feel better when you're running. Like, you know, in cases like that where, you know, you genuinely feel like you're investing in yourself and like making a difference to you, I will back that till the day I die. Like, I'm such a believer in investing in yourself, whether that be with products or like in an educational sense. I'm trying to think of other examples of that. There's probably like a bit of a grey area where that's concerned because, like, you know, is investing in yourself getting a nice perfume that makes you smell good and other people think you smell good and therefore, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Is that a bit of a grey area, investing in yourself? Is there too much room for debate in what's actually considered investing in yourself? I don't know. I feel like you know what I mean though when I say that. Like, could you consider investing in yourself buying an expensive jean? I think you could, maybe a little bit. I don't think that's necessarily what I'm talking about right now, but I think, like, you know, investing in yourself and buying the perfect jean, even though it might be more expensive than your usual, it now means you're not going to buy any other jeans. So therefore you're investing in your wardrobe. I am a big believer in investing in your wardrobe. I was talking about this actually. I made a TikTok video the other day when I bought this dressing gown that I'm currently wearing right now from the White Company. And I was saying about how this time last year, I was on a bit of a quest to find like the perfect white dressing gown because I'm such a white dressing gown girl through and through. I always have been. And last year I was on this quest to find the perfect white robe, okay? And I think I knew in my head that I wanted a nice expensive White Company one, or I wanted, there's another brand that do, and they do like the Wimbledon ones, I can't remember the name of it, or else like the expensive M&S ones. Like, there are cheaper ones in M&S, but I wanted the, you know, the real deal, the 100% cotton one, okay? And I think I knew that in the back of my head, but at the time I was not willing to pay that for a dressing gown. I just, in my head, I was like, no, I'm not spending more than 35 quid on a dressing gown. It's just not happening. So I end up, you know, spending so much time trying on different dressing gowns across like Tesco, Sainsbury's, TK Maxx, Matalan, all these different places. And I end up going for this one in TK Maxx, and I was kidding myself at the time, telling myself, yeah, this is perfect. But in reality, it wasn't what I wanted. What I wanted was the White Company one. And anyway, this year, well, a couple of days ago, I go and I decide to purchase myself the White Company dressing gown. And that's just like a very good example of like, if you buy cheap, you buy twice. Or if you have something in your head that you want, going and buying like the dupes of it or all these different like things that you think are similar to it. By the time you go and buy all those things, you're probably like spending quite a lot of money anyway, and you might as well just save up for a little bit longer and invest in the thing that you want and you're going to keep for a long time and really value and appreciate, and like not want to replace so quickly, like the way I wanted to replace the one that I got last year. You know, I could have continued on a cycle with that. I could have this year got then another one from Tesco or from M&S, and then the following year been like, you know what, now it's time for the White Company one. And then by that stage, I would have literally spent the same amount of money that the White Company one was trying to get other ones that were similar to it, which is so ironic because the whole premise of you not getting it in the first place was that you didn't want to spend the money on it. So I do believe that like, if you buy cheap, you buy twice. And if there is something that you really want, to try and avoid getting the dupes and the lookalikes or the things that are similar to it in the quest of like trying to get this thing, because you'll just be dissatisfied, because eventually you will just want the actual thing that you wanted in the first place. Now, this doesn't always ring true, and like, You know, if something's like a particularly trendy item and therefore you actually don't even know if you're going to want it in a year's time, so you don't know if you want to spend that amount of money on it, I think that's fair enough. But I don't really like to purchase things that I don't think I'm going to want in a year's time, like overly trendy pieces where I'm not going to wear it in a year's time. Like when I purchase things, I like to think of, okay, I'm going to have this now for the next 10 years of my life. Like I have tops that I still wear. Like there was a top I was wearing in Porto and someone commented on a picture and was like, where did you get this? And I was like, I've had this since I was 17 and I've literally worn it on every single holiday ever since I was 17. It's like a sparkly top. It's very Christmas party season kind of top, and I wear it on every holiday and I wear it around Christmas every single year. And like, I'm now 26 years old. Like you have to think of what you buy as like, you're going to have this now for the next 10 years as opposed to this fits a trend. How have I gone off on this spiel? What was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about the difference in investing in yourself compared to like impulse buying and thinking your life's going to drastically improve because of it and then come to find out it's not. Sorry, that was, yeah, I don't know how we got there. Oh my God, wait, another thing I was going to mention before we round off the podcast. I mentioned at the start of the episode that one of my little spirals I went down, one of my little holes I went down one night was all on like the fitness watches and like the Aura rings and stuff. This is why it's relevant to what I'm discussing in this episode, because I was talking about, you know, the difference in investing in yourself versus like flippantly buying things and thinking you're going to have no worries as a result of that, which isn't true. I can't decide whether I think that buying the likes of, okay, I just want to say, I fucking hate Apple Watches or Fitbits or Garmin's or anything of the sorts. And I think they're so ugly. And look, if you want to wear that on your wrist, you do you. I'm not here to tell you to do otherwise. I, however, will never be seen dead walking around with one of those things on my wrist. So if I was to ever get one, it would be one of the rings, right? But I fell into this hole researching them and I can't decide whether I think it would be such a great investment into yourself or if I find it very unnecessary. And I'll explain why. Why not make use of the fact that you can get all this data about yourself? Like, why not? If we can have access to that data and we can see, you know, how drinking coffee at this time affects your sleep, how having this breakfast ends up like causing you to crash later on in the day, how, I don't know, like how, there's a load of things you can find out with these trackers, isn't there? But if you have the ability to access that data, why not make use of that? Is that not a massively beneficial thing to use in your life? But then on the other hand, I think, is that not so unnecessary? Like, can we not just go off of how we feel? Which is actually very easy to tell. I would say I'm pretty in tune with my body and how I feel on a daily basis. And I know how my sleep affects me, and I know how, I don't know, it's like, it's such a weird one. I'm like, is it really that essential? Like, we've come this far for this many years in life without having to know all that shit about ourselves. Can we not just keep going? Like, do we really need to be overanalyzing ourselves and literally using data to live? And I can't decide what I think about it. One second I'll think, I'm going to buy one of those rings. And the next I think, why would you do that? I think it would be a little bit motivating to see your step count and want to like improve it and to want to improve your sleep score. And yeah, I don't know. I can't make my mind up about them. That's one of those things where I can't decide, is it investing in yourself? Or are you just thinking, oh my God, my life would be so much better with this. But in reality, what's it doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you really need to know that? So anyone who has like a fitness watch or ring, let me know your thoughts. Has your life been significantly improved? Or do you reckon we don't need to turn everything we do in life into a chart or a graph or a readiness score? I have mixed opinions on it. Anyway, if you've taken anything away from this week's episode, I hope it be that all your problems probably won't be solved by making that purchase or by having extensions in your hair or whatever it is that you think in your head would make your life like, you know, that would make all your problems dissipate. It's probably not going to be the case. And the quicker we can come to terms with that, probably the better for our own sanity. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. Remember to subscribe and follow and rate and review and leave a comment if you're watching. I love you guys so much, and I will speak to you in next week's episode. Bye.